Welcome back to the Hero's Journey podcast. We're on episode number 40. I'm your host, Nick, and you're here to hear me ramble on about another 10 comic books. We're in the golden age right now. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping here, just a little update, a little special announcement. This little podcast here has been featured on Go Collect. They're just a little background on how this all started, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I'm going to put the link to the article down below the video here. All right, so let's get down to the comics. Share screen. Share. So as you can see, first up, we have Plastic Man number 2. This is a quality book from 1944. Sources I used seem to indicate this was from August of 1944, so that's why it's showing up in this particular slot. Now, it seems a little sketchy about the publication dates for this first couple issues of this run. So the last issue was in 1943, somewhere towards the end. So issue number 1, 1943, and then it didn't seem like they published another one, issue number 2 here, until August of the following year, so almost a year in between. And then the next issue, number 3, is in 1946. So definitely a bit of a gap here, which is unfortunate because the Plastic Man's awesome. So it would be nice to see some monthly issues coming out of that guy, but he features in some other publications, so that's all right. All right, so in this issue, we have 4 Plastic Man stories. You have Plastic Man and Woozy Winks chase some crooks to their secret hideout in a forgotten town that stopped progressing in the gay 90s. So that's what they're talking about on the cover of the issue here. Another great Jack Cole cover, lots of fun colors. Seems like a mishmash of colors, but it's a fun cover, right? Love it. Apparently the gay, I assume they're talking about the 1890s, and that seemed to be like a really fun time, I guess, before any world wars, major pandemics. I'm sure they had their own issues at that time, but it seemed to be a simpler time when people didn't have as many crazy things on their minds. Next up, Plastic Man and Woozy Winks have their bodies switched when a man figures out how to impress his personality on others and changes places with them. After that, Plastic Man and Woozy Winks are up against a gangster that fell into a volcano and became a lava man. And the last story in this issue, Plastic Man and Woozy Winks investigate a town where everyone has seemingly gone crazy, but it turns out they're all hypnotized. So for this issue, you have a recent CGC 3.5 sale from July of 2020 for $228. Next up, got another dose of Plastic Man in Police Comics number 33. This is the Quality Comics issue from August of 1944. And this issue, Plastic Man and Woozy Winks work to trap a thief who stole a military prototype for remote-controlled airplanes. The thief hates planes and wants to destroy all air travel. Another simple Jack Cole. You know what? This looks like an Al Bryant. Doesn't even look like it's Jack Cole, but it certainly looks like Jack Cole's type of cover. Very, very similar style, and it works. I like the red grade to the orange. That's really, that's great. Good use of color. These are great covers. Human Bomb and Eustace Throckmorton tangle with some thieves that stole Roy's new formula for a sugarless soft drink. So imagine that, sugarless soft drink. Goodness. They call it, I don't know, Diet Coke. Anyway, you have a recent CGC 8.0 sale from May of 2020 for $395. Now in this issue, I thought one of the pages was really interesting. Look, I don't know, I'm picking out kind of some random stuff here, but in the middle panels, you can see that Eustace Throckmorton there gets thrown into the water, and his human bomb type powers in his feet. So he accidentally touches a fish, and in he blows him out of the water, and he was all tied up, but he blew him out of the water. I just thought it was funny, interesting that he touches a fish, and then on the right hand panel where it says "bam," you see kind of the remainder of the fish. I don't know. I thought that tickled my funny bone. Following that, we have DC's August 1944 issue of Sensation Comics, number 32. We have a page reduction here. This is the first 52-page issue, and that is down from 60. Another H.G. Peter cover here. Good line work. Interesting. Not one of his best covers, but I still enjoy that type of line work. And the way that Wonder Woman's outfit opens at the back makes you wonder how it even stays on when she's fighting crime, running around. In this issue, Wonder Woman is targeted by a crime syndicate who has been organized by the chief of detectives, and Baroness Paula von Gunther goes undercover to save Wonder Woman. Paula is killed and brought back to life in this issue. So she dies, heart stops, but a machine that she invented is used to actually bring her back to life. So she died, but she comes back. It's comics. What are you gonna do? Mr. Terrific solves a murder by piecing together a smashed statue made by the dead sculptor. And lastly, Wildcat and Stretch Skinner track down a missing chauffeur and discover he's part of a gang of crooks. You have a recent CGC 8.5 sale from March of 2020 for $660. Following that, we have Star Spangled Comics, number 35. This is the August 1944 issue from DC. Another page reduction. It's the first 52-page issue, down from 60. You see, it's the line work, I guess, I don't really appreciate on these covers. It's not a style I like. I just find and all their mouths are all the same. Oh, yeah, what's going on? Yeah, it's all the same. We're doing like almost like a duck face. Trying to do selfies with duck face. So the first story actually goes to Star Spangled Kid and Stripesy, and they take down the saboteurs at a rival truck company trying to drive their competition out of business. And then the cover story with the Guardian and Newsboy Legion, they keep the runaway nephew of a rich banker safe from gangsters. After that, Robot Man and Robbie the Robot Dog assume some men working at night are thieves, and it turns out they're moving illegal gambling equipment. And it's Robbie the Robot Dog, who's been reading detective novels, wants to be like Sherlock Holmes, and he's the one who got on the trail. Last up, Liberty Bell foils a scheme by Nazi saboteurs to turn American air defenses against their own flying armada. That was the thing about they were using invisible paint that would show up after a certain amount of time, and they had painted on Nazi and Japanese insignias on the plane so that when they were returning home, they get taken out by the anti-aircraft batteries. You have a recent CGC 9.0 sale from February of 2019 for $468. And that seems like a decent price for this issue. They don't command huge dollars, but $468. And that's from February 2019. Might be higher now if that came up again for auction. So on this page here, again, highlighting different artwork from some of these issues. Just I find interesting, catch my eye. I don't know why. I thought top left corner, the running dog, I thought that was well done. I thought it seemed to nicely capture what a running dog would look like. And to be fair, I don't know, like this is right back before television, back before you could just Google images online. So I don't know where these artists are getting the references from. I don't know. I like, from what I understand, there's no television. It's not like you're seeing these things run around. Are they observing these things in around them? I don't know. Look, it's a silly thing, but I find it interesting nonetheless. All right, move along. Whiz Comics, number 57. That's Fawcett. That's the August 1944 issue. Just to point out, Dr. Savannah. It looks like that's Dr. Savannah on the cover, but he's not in the interior. And certainly there's no professor like that is featured in the story with Captain Marvel. Because Captain Marvel fills in for Mr. Agony on his advice-giving radio show after he receives a death threat. Now, Spy Smasher, Golden Arrow, and Ibis make cameo appearances in that story. Now, I also read the Ibis story, and Ibis tangles with a magician's ghost that enjoys playing pranks. So for this issue, you have a recent CGC 9.0 sale from December of 2020 for $312. Next up, we have another Marvel family character featured in issue, even on the cover, Wow Comics, number 28, Fawcett, August 1944. Got a lot of crazy action on the cover there. All characters that are featured inside. Mary Marvel figures out that a quiz show host uses the answers on his show to plan his heists. So the quiz master is on the show. Hey, so how would you rob this place if you had this, this, and this? And then all the whiz kids like, oh, here's how you do it. And just give like an answer. And sure enough, someone gets robbed in that same manner. Pinky from Mr. Scarlet and Pinky makes an appearance in the Mary Marvel story. You have a recent CGC 9.0 sale from June of 2020 for $400. All right, now what's fun in this issue is apparently here, not the clearest, and I blew it up, but it says on the bottom there, it says it's from the Mary Marvel story. It's part of the story. It says, girls, have you noticed Mary's cute new dress? You'll know more about this dress if you'll turn the page that follows the end of this story. So it's product placement, which is, there's not too much of that in these issues this time, in this time frame. I mean, the ads are starting to crop up more and more. You see more ads in the issues quite frequently. Before there really hardly any ads in the issues at all, but now they're becoming more prominent. Now they've figured out product placement's the way to go. So if you like Mary Marvel's cute dress, there's an ad after the story about how to get that dress. You can mail away for it. So I thought that was pretty interesting that they would do some sort of product placement like that. It's pretty neat for that kind of time. Okay, so that's it for August of 1944. With that, we move on to September of 1944. Big Red Star. This is your big book of the week. To be fair, there weren't any clear standout winners for the big book of the week this week. But this one just seems to have just beat the other ones out by head. I will give you a bit of a spoiler. There are no timely issues in this run of 10 issues. So maybe that's why you have a DC book that made it for the big book of the week, because otherwise they're all just timely. All right. So I want to point out, I should have said this last time when I was reading issue number 75. But so now this whole project started out with reading Action Comics and seeing what Superman would look like from issue number 1 and his evolution until we got into 1,000 and beyond in Action Comics. Now we're on 76, and that's 76 issues. So I've read 76 issues of Action Comics, which is, drop in the bucket compared to how many issues have been published. I do have my work cut out for me. However, it is interesting to note that I have read 76 issues, and this is the most issues I've read out of a run, well, for this project, but probably maybe in my lifetime. 76 is quite a lot of issues, so I don't know. I mean, I've read a lot of issues, but I don't know that I read 76 issues out of any run. So I'm sure there's a lot more people that are dedicated than I am and have read maybe hundreds of, any kind of other issue. But, well, now I'm sticking to it. I'm going to read a lot in a row. Don't worry. All right, so it's Action Comics number 76, DC, September 1944. Interesting cover. Superman showing off his strength. In Superman's story, he follows the heir to a large fortune as he fulfills the final wishes of his father to follow in his footsteps and become more grounded. Yeah, so nothing to do with what's on the cover. This guy was the heir to the fortune, had to go travel around the world doing different jobs that had to do with mostly being on a ship and different islands, and he was a bouncer at one point. Anyway, and then Zatara is set to do his act for the opening of a new theater, but beforehand he must stop stagehands from a rival theater from scaring off other acts. So, big book of the week this week had a recent CGC 5.0 sale from November of 2020 for an even $600. That's it. It's not thousands or anything, but it's still 5.0 for $600 is a fair chunk of money. Okay. All American Comics number 60. As from also from DC, September 1944. I like the colors on the cover. Artwork, not my favorite. But yeah, you know, I like the colors. The yeah, it could be a little better, but I like the colors. But I'll give it that. Okay, so this is a page reduction as well. First 52-page issue, that's down from 60 pages. In this issue, Green Lantern and Doiby Dickles get the help of a career pickpocket who's trying to go straight, but his hands have minds of their own. So he said, "I'm going straight. Not going to pick any more pockets." But you know, he goes to turn down for the night, takes off his pants, and all the stuff falls out. I don't know who planted that stuff on me. Turns out he's, you know, just not even realized, subconsciously picking pockets as he goes. The Atom struggles to keep his identity secret when Mary James is tasked to find out who he really is. And Mary James, I don't know if you've been following, but is his love interest. He really likes her, but he has to keep his identity secret. And she's doing a news report for the college, and slow news day, so they've tasked her to figure out his identity. Anyway, so she tries to set him up, but then, you know, realizes that turns out he's a really nice guy, and I don't want to do that to him. So she ends up helping him out in the end. Dr. Midnight helps a bank teller get his voice back and catch some thieves. So this is kind of an interesting story where Dr. Midnight is actually trying to catch thieves, but at the same time try to help someone in trouble with his skills as a doctor. So I mean, he does help people with his skills as a doctor, but he's trying to do two birds with one stone in this particular story. So it's kind of fun. Recent CGC 3.5 from December 2020 for $200. Now, I haven't featured this before, and this isn't news to anyone, but the Green Lantern, Alan Scott and all the following Green Lanterns have an oath. I'm sure you've seen it, but I figured I'd show it, make sure everyone's aware. You can see what it is. In brightest day, blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware of my power, Green Lantern's light. And then I assume that's he puts the ring into the lantern. You have to point it up to the sky afterwards, just a hero pose kind of thing. All right, so that's his oath. So he says that in most of the stories before he charges it up, heads out to fight crime. All right, Owl Flash, DC. This is the fall 1944 issue. And this issue contains a full-length Flash story. So it's one Flash story told in a bunch of different chapters. Clearly, Winky, Blinky, and Naughty appear in this issue. On the cover, they appear in the issue. What's interesting is that these three ding-dongs, they actually pass the bar exam and become lawyers in this issue. So, well, if they can do it, you know. The Flash gets a letter from a gangster's lawyer giving him a code to the next 5 jobs the gang plans to pull. So this lawyer's tired of defending this gangster, has had enough of his shenanigans. He wants out. He knows that he's going to get killed because he's refusing to help out the gangster. So as like a final farewell, he leaves behind some clues as to the next few heists that this gangster is going to pull off. And they're coded in such a way that the Flash should be able to figure out and stop him. And the Flash does. You have a recent CGC 3.0 sale from March of 2021 for $255. Next up, we have All-Star Comics number 22, DC Fall 1944 issue. It's like you have a couple presidents on the front there. Very patriotic cover. Okay, so let's look at this. The Justice Society of America members, right? In the roll call in this issue shows Hawkman, Starman, Johnny Thunder, Atom, Dr. Midnight, and the Spectre, right? So 6 members. And Wonder Woman isn't noted in the roll call as even being secretary. She is shown on the cover. She does show up in a couple panels. She does not participate in their adventure at all. She's kind of there. And then, like I said, I think she appears in like 3 panels or so. The cover and a couple other panels maybe. Doesn't really, it's a shame that she doesn't do much. And she's right there, just use her. Whatever. So the Justice Society of America members are visited by a cosmic being, which turns out to be the conscience of man. And the conscience of man sends them to different periods of time to learn how to overcome prejudice and intolerance, all the while not giving Wonder Woman a prominent role on the team. The irony is there. I mean, you can't really can't beat it, right? Whatever. It's a different time. What are you gonna do? She has her own series. She's featured. She's the headline in Sensation Comics. I mean, she's doing okay for herself. Not getting a lot of respect on the team, but whatever. All right, so those are 10 books for the week. Again, my little podcast here, trying to create a little community so we can have a little back and forth with some good dialogue and stuff. So things are happening. It's great. We've got some page reductions. We've got some moving on to a new month, September 1944. It's great. It's a good time. Lots of fun things happening. I'm going to, again, put a link to the blog post for the article from Go Collect in the description. Check it out. Have a read. If you have any questions about it, if you're wondering, if you read the article and you're like, oh my God, this guy doesn't make sense at all, I need to ask more questions, go ahead, comment. I'll read the comments. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate your time. It's valuable to me. You take care.